Okay, today we're at Zappos and we're having a brief interview with Ryo Zsun. He's the culture maestro at Zappos. Hi Ryo, thanks very much for the great tour we just had.
I appreciate that, thank you.
We saw all the fun things and all the good things at Zappos. And I'd like to ask you a couple of questions,
yeah, please.
if that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
At the Happiness Bureau we work on how to enhance happiness at work and also on how to create the best employee experience in companies. Could you tell us a bit about how Zappos creates the best employee experience?
It starts from going back just for the onboarding experience. We want people to feel well then. Even during the hiring experience, we'll go through different types of interviews, but we have fun questions that we'll ask. That kind of sets the tone to when they're actually offered the job, and then they go through the 4 weeks of training where they learn not only about our culture, they get a deeper understanding of each of the 10 core values. And when at that point, before the 4th week is done of their training, we empower them to drive the culture. So the culture works because of the people in it. So starting with the right people and putting them on that journey before they actually enter into our company till the time where they get to spread their wings and actually drive the company from after the onboarding process. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, yes, definitely. Because you told us about the culture fit and that Zappos is really culture-based rather than performance-based. Mm-hmm. Can you explain a bit about that? What that means and how that works?
So we're a culture-driven company, and we have these 10 core values that we are committed to in the company, and actually these are actionable core values as well, so we can actually live and breathe these core values outside. So instead of doing what most companies will use as a performance-based tool like 360 reviews where you're assessed by your peers, we created our own. It's following and echoing the same process where I'm being assessed by my peers, but based off my core value, my culture performance. So like what core value does Ryo excel at versus what core value that he could probably use a little more focus on. And we do that once a year to gauge everyone's culture fit by our peers. And then at the end of that assessment, then we create a project as a goal to work towards bettering that one core value and see what the feedback looks like the following year. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Awesome.
So, and since a couple of years, Zappos doesn't have any managers anymore. 3 years ago, you started with the holacracy principle. Mm-hmm. How does that work out so far?
You've taken the tour now.
Yes.
Everything you've seen on our campus, we were already in 2012 1 foot in that world. The idea that we even have a cafe or we have a bistro with an executive chef, everything that you've seen were ideas from employees that were brought to fruition. So if we, for example, went up to our CEO and said, hey Tony, we should really do this, it'd be great for Zappos culture, then his response would usually always be, well, just do it, make it happen. And it's really up to the employees, like I said, to drive the organization. So in 2012, we were already pretty much 1 foot in that world. It was just hierarchy was actually slowing us down to the other parts, like increasing productivity and innovation and allowing us to be quicker to be adaptable. Yeah. And holacracy was introduced to us towards the end of 2012 where we met Brian Robertson. He actually came to talk to the company, and that was our realizations like, you know what, let's take it another level further, and we adopted holacracy since. Now, I'll be honest, many of us were already taught to know that these are how businesses run. So we had to really retrain our minds to realize that, hey, you know what, we could run a business another way. And I'll be honest, in my experience, being that I had run stores and leadership, with other companies in a hierarchy realm, coming here, it was a breath of fresh air to kind of relearn how to run a business and be an active component to the organization. And even though I have all these different roles through holacracy, I clock in, I prioritize my work, but at the end of the day, where in the old world, I'd do that big exhale, because even though I loved my job back then, I was like, gosh, what a long day. But here, actually, I'm like, oh, I did a lot today. Do you see the mindset difference? Because in this world of holacracy, I actually feel like I'm adding value to the company from the work that I do here, that I choose to do here, I should say.
Okay. So from walking around here, we can see that people are happy at work.
It's the water.
And okay, we'll bring lots of water back to Holland, and then we'll be fine. So people are happy, results are great. Why is not every company doing this? Or what's your opinion on that?
From all the people, I tour businesses from all over the world, and here at Zappos we host 4 tours a day.
Yes.
And honestly, a lot of times people, I think some organizations really haven't discovered their purpose or their why yet. We have a set of 10 driving principles, our core values, which is the principles that our employees drive. And when you have happy employees, what happens to engagement? Engagement goes up. And if your employees are more engaged, then what happens to productivity? That goes up as well. And everyone wants the bottom line, so that drives our bottom line, because happy Zapponians equal happy customers, and that's always been our business model ever since, is having these 10 core values drive the organization, but the employees are driving it, but the end result would be the happy customers that we have today.
No, exactly. So it makes sense. It sounds very logical. The results are there, but do other companies find it difficult, or they don't know how to implement it, or what's your...
For startup companies, in the beginning, it's great. Okay, for companies that are already established, I think it's a lot more of a challenge for them, because here they want to restructure their culture, but oftentimes if you have tenured members in the company, or maybe not everyone would be on board with that, so you may have to expect extreme changes where people may need to exit and move on, and who are not on board on the new purpose or direction that a company may be going. Whereas a young startup company, they have the ability to organically create their culture and create their core values and their characteristics of who they are as a brand. But as they begin to scale and grow, maintaining culture is a struggle. So that's where we revert back to, well, make sure you're finding the right people for your culture.
Great,
yes.
Thanks very much. Maybe one last question.
Yes.
What do you like most yourself about working at Zappos?
Honestly, I can come in here and just be myself. I always tell that whenever I see a new hire, actually a potential Zapponian who's going through an interview process, and they're sitting there, they're nervous, and I'll say, you know what, just be you. Be a little weird too, that helps too. But yeah, be you. And once you master that, and then this working environment will just automatically fall in alignment with the whole purpose and the culture within it. So, I hope that makes sense.
Well,
awesome.
Thanks very much.
It was a pleasure.
We'll invite you to the Netherlands, so maybe, because we know that Ryo likes to travel a lot, so maybe next time...
I'm going to go there for the food.
You go. So, but when you're there, we'll make sure that there will be another Happy People Better Business event. So, well, thanks very much.
It was a pleasure, and thank you for coming all this way to come visit us. Come back again, because you never know what new shenanigans we get into next.
That's true.
Come on a holiday.